We've all seen them. The idiots in their metal boxes weaving through traffic like they're in a Fast and Furious sequel. They think they're invincible, that the rules don't apply to them, except this isn't Hollywood, and there's no reset button for real life. One wrong move, and it's game over. This is about instant karma for reckless drivers. Those moments when their disregard for the rules of the road comes back to bite them hard. It's a harsh reminder that actions have consequences. This isn't about schadenfreude, though a little chuckle is understandable. It's more about the poetic justice that unfolds on the asphalt. It's about understanding the very real consequences of reckless driving, both for the drivers themselves and everyone else sharing the road. The ripple effect of one bad decision can be catastrophic. We're talking twisted metal, shattered lives, and the heavy hand of fate delivering a swift and brutal lesson. It's a sobering sight, one that should make anyone think twice. So, buckle up because we're about to take a ride through some cautionary tales. These stories aren't just for entertainment, they're lessons in disguise. We'll dissect the anatomy of bad decisions, explore the curious concept of karma on the asphalt, and hopefully make you think twice before you even consider tailgating that little old lady in the slow lane. Every action has a reaction, and on the road, those reactions can be deadly. Because when it comes to reckless driving, karma isn't just a theory, it's a head-on collision with reality. And reality doesn't play favorites. Remember that viral video of the guy texting while driving? Yeah, the one where he rear-ended a parked police car? Instant karma served on a silver platter, or should we say, a dented bumper. Then there's the classic case of the street racer who, attempting to impress his buddies, loses control and wraps his souped-up Honda around a lamppost. Not so impressive now, is it? These aren't isolated incidents. Every day, news reports are filled with stories of drivers who thought they were invincible, only to be humbled by the laws of physics and a good dose of bad luck. A drunk driver swerving between lanes crashes into a family on their way home from vacation. A teenager, high on adrenaline and showing off, loses control and flips his car, ejecting his friend who wasn't wearing a seatbelt. These stories are a stark reminder that reckless driving isn't a victimless crime. It's a game of Russian roulette played with human lives, and the consequences are always devastating. What possesses someone to turn a 2-ton hunk of metal into a weapon? It's a question that baffles many of us. Often it's a toxic cocktail of arrogance, impatience, and a complete lack of awareness. Take speeding, for example. It's not just about breaking the law, it's about a mindset that prioritizes thrill over safety. Some drivers seem to think they're auditioning for the next Fast and Furious film, pushing their cars to the limit on public roads. They treat the streets like their personal racetrack, endangering everyone around them. They underestimate the danger, overestimate their skills, and forget that the laws of physics apply to everyone, even those with a lead foot. The result? Catastrophic accidents that could have been easily avoided. Then there's the plague of distracted driving. It's not just about texting, it's about any activity that diverts attention from the road. Texting, fiddling with the radio, applying makeup, all these seemingly harmless actions take our eyes off the road and our minds off driving, turning us into ticking time bombs behind the wheel. Even a split second of distraction can lead to irreversible consequences. Add alcohol or drugs to the mix, and you've got a recipe for disaster. These substances don't just impair judgment, they create a false sense of invincibility. These substances impair judgment, slow reaction times, and create a false sense of confidence, making already reckless drivers even more dangerous. The impaired driver becomes a ticking time bomb on wheels. The science is simple. Bad decisions lead to bad outcomes, and on the road, those outcomes can be catastrophic. Every choice we make behind the wheel has the potential to change lives forever. Section 4. Karma's steering wheel. Is it real or just coincidence? Now let's talk about karma. The idea that our actions, good or bad, come back to us in some form is a concept that has fascinated humanity for centuries. Is it some mystical force that punishes bad drivers with uncanny precision? Or is it just a series of coincidences that we interpret as meaningful? Or is it simply a case of cause and effect, where reckless actions inevitably lead to negative consequences? The more we think about it, the more complex it seems. It's tempting to see the hand of karma in the driver who runs a red light and gets T-boned by a passing truck, as if the universe is delivering instant justice. Or the tailgater who ends up rear-ending the very car they were harassing. These incidents feel like poetic justice, don't they? But while the universe might have a sense of irony, it's important to remember that physics doesn't discriminate. The laws of motion apply to everyone equally. Every time we get behind the wheel, we're playing a game of chance. The road is an unpredictable place and anything can happen. The more reckless our actions, the higher the stakes, and the greater the likelihood of a negative outcome. It's a simple equation, really. The more we push the limits, the more we risk. And sometimes those risks don't pay off. Call it karma, call it bad luck, call it the universe evening the score. The result is the same. Actions have consequences. So, while it's satisfying to see a reckless driver get their comeuppance, the real lesson isn't about cosmic justice, but about the very real and immediate consequences of our actions. Every decision we make on the road matters. So next time you're behind the wheel, think twice before making that risky move. It might just save your life. The road is a shared space, and our actions affect not just us but everyone around us. Drive safely, and remember, every action has a reaction. Section 5. The ripple effect, how one driver's actions impact many. Here's the thing about reckless driving, it's not a solo sport. When a driver chooses to speed, weave through traffic, or drive under the influence, they're not just putting themselves at risk, they're endangering the lives of everyone around them. Imagine being the innocent driver who gets sideswiped by someone texting behind the wheel, or the pedestrian crossing the street who gets hit by a speeding car, or the family on vacation whose lives are shattered by a drunk driver. Reckless driving doesn't just have consequences for the driver, it creates a ripple effect of pain and suffering that can devastate entire communities. It's a selfish act that can have far-reaching and devastating consequences, leaving a trail of broken bodies, shattered dreams, and grieving families in its wake. Section 6. Learning from the wrecks of others. A dose of driving wisdom. We've seen the carnage, we've explored the psychology, and we've pondered the role of fate. Now let's talk about solutions. Because the only thing worse than witnessing the aftermath of a reckless driving accident is knowing that it could have been prevented. The good news is, we all have the power to make the roads safer. It starts with taking personal responsibility for our actions behind the wheel. That means obeying traffic laws, driving defensively, and never ever driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. It also means calling out reckless driving when we see it, whether it's a friend, a family member, or a stranger. Sometimes, a simple reminder is all it takes to prevent a tragedy. And finally, it means learning from the mistakes of others. Every reckless driving accident is a story, a cautionary tale that reminds us of the fragility of life and the importance of responsible driving. Section 7. Conclusion. Drive safe, drive smart, drive with respect. The road is a shared space, and our actions behind the wheel have the power to impact the lives of countless others. We can choose to be part of the problem, or we can choose to be part of the solution. So, the next time you get behind the wheel, remember this. Karma might be watching, but you don't need a cosmic slap on the wrist to do the right thing. Drive safe, drive smart, and drive with respect for yourself and everyone else on the road. Because in the end, the best way to avoid instant karma is to never tempt fate in the first place.